welcome to the prep rally. We are tackling meal prep week 21. All right, not sure about you guys, but I am feeling so off my game this week. After a long weekend, I feel like I'm just trying to get everything together. So this meal prep is going to really help you get through the week with ease. So I'm very excited to bang it out. Let's do it. It should be a really quick one. Oldie but a goodie. Spatchcocked chickens, you guys know how I feel about those. And we have an amazing beef tagine. You could follow along with your PDF. Head to prepandrally.com to subscribe and download your weekly PDF. Here is this week's menu. It's a spatchcocked chicken with roasted vegetables. We have a beef tagine with Israeli couscous, a chicken pot pie, and this cheesy couscous carbonara, which you guys are going to go bonkers over. So good. Shop your grocery list, and we are going to get our Sunday prep on right here. You can follow along with your PDF, and we're gonna bang this out. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Oh my goodness. Okay, butternut squash tagine. Let's get to it. We're going to use a large pot that I have right here. We're gonna get through this as quickly as possible, as always, because we're all about efficiency, saving time and money and energy, and just making this whole process easy and making the rest of your week a breeze by simply pulling out things from the fridge and having dinner in no time. Okay, so let's do this thing. All right, so I am just peeling my onion, as you can see right here. All right, I have my flame on. I have pretty high heat over here, a little bit of olive oil going in, and I also have my oven preheated to 425, so be sure to do that as well, because we're gonna get our green beans in there and our chicken. All right, get your onion, have that thing, and we are just going to dice it up. All right, and I really wanted to get this prep in because winter is almost over, my friends. Yes, which means moving on to lighter dishes, more like grain bowls and wraps and chicken salad and light fish. And so I'm really excited to start bringing all those to you. So we're getting in our last of the curries and the stews and the soups and all of that. So we could start getting excited about summer, right? I mean, who is not excited about summer? I love summer. All right, we have our oil in our pan. Should be nice and hot right now in our pot. Love that sound. In we go. We're gonna saute these onions, and you guys know I love to always season my onions with a little bit of salt. So get them nice and golden and caramelized. I also keep a little towel by my station and a garbage for just easy use. All right. I hope that everybody has either wine, or if you're prepping in the morning like I am, some coffee, around 2 more espresso shots today. Love my coffee. Okay. Here we go. It's also really fun. I have my friend Tova here in the audience today. Hey, Tov. She's listening, which is super fun. So we are gonna cook, and then we're gonna eat lunch from our meal prep. And I also have my friend Lenore, shout out to you, coming over with her kiddos for dinner tonight. So the best thing about meal prep is that you can just have guests whenever, wherever, and you never have to worry about dinner because it's already done for you. And you can just have unexpected guests, and you can entertain and be the hostess with the mostest with very little effort. All right, that is what I'm all about. So we are going to saute our onions. Whoa, flying onions. Saute your onions for a few more minutes. And then I have some ground beef here. This is shoulder. Chuck any kind of stew beef. You could even just ask the butcher what you like. You could even use like a flanken or like a short rib if you prefer that. You maybe want to cook it a little bit longer if you are using that kind of meat, because with that kind of meat, the longer you cook it, the softer and softer it gets and it falls apart. So totally your call what you want to use here, okay? So I have my beef over here. I'm going to throw that in. And we're just going to season this all up with our salt and our spices. So firstly, we have some salt. You always got to season. All right, how we doing? Guys, you're going to love this tagine. It's so good. And the word tagine is really just like a stew. If you don't want to do like the cinnamon or the spices like that, omit them. You don't need to add them. You don't need to replace them with anything. You can just taste it and season accordingly as you like, okay? Here we go. We got our beef in there. I'm adding some paprika. I'm using a little bit of smoked paprika because honestly that's what I had. But you could use regular or smoked, up to you. That is done. Gotta add that to my list. And we have some cinnamon, which makes this kind of like that classic tagine flavor. But again, you could completely omit and do what you like. Add what you want in there. We have our garlic powder. And then we're going to add some pepper. So this is going to really season the whole tagine up. Give it really, really, really good flavor. Okay. Keep mixing that around and let that get a nice sear on all sides. All right. Beautiful. Keep going. So high heat here. Let this get nice and golden. All right. Give it that kind of golden crust on the outside. Here we go. So once we're done with that, we're going to add our wine in, our stock, and then the rest of the ingredients just go in, and we're going to simmer it for about an hour. All right, so this is really easy. All happens in one pot. If you can, once we're done with this, let it cool in the pot if you have time, or you could take it out of the pot to cool and then put it back in so that you could store it in the pot, because then when you're ready to serve it, just throw this right on the flame and you're good to go, right? So you don't need to dirty up multiple pots and pans. So if you can, just store it in the fridge in this pot and easy, good to go. A little more salt right there. And here we go. That's it. Fresh rosemary we could have put in as well. I did not do that. I have some outside my house. I didn't add it. You don't have to. I have sage, but I'm going to be adding that to my chicken. So I don't really want to put sage in here. I'm leaving my rosemary out. You could also use dry rosemary. That works beautifully too. Let's do that. Or you know what? I have oregano actually. Let's do oregano. But here's what I want you guys to always remember is that you could put it whenever you like, use whatever you have on hand. That's such a big part of this, is knowing how to step and swap, knowing which flavors go together to improvise and make it work, and how to make your food the way you want it, because everyone likes something else. So I always want you to adjust. You know, you don't always have to follow the recipe to a T. I want you to kind of have that flexibility and make it your own. All right, and here we go. Beef and spices. Okay, here we go. Oh, guys, I didn't put in the part about the flour. Okay, take your flour. Now we're gonna do this, okay? Take your flour, pour your flour over the meat, and just give it a little mix around, okay? And what this is gonna do is just coat the meat, and it's just gonna help thicken up this whole tagine a little bit, okay? You could use a whole wheat flour here. Any kind of flour works. I would stick to either a regular though or a whole wheat if possible. Okay. You could also use a little bit of cornstarch if you want. This is just going to thicken it a little bit. And now we're just going to deglaze it with our wine. Good thing, because I feel like I have so many open bottles of wine. So get your wine in there. And don't worry if you're feeding this to kids, the wine, the alcohol and the wine does reduce, and it does not end up boiling out. So you're not going to get your kids drunk. So don't worry if you've never cooked with wine before. Your kitchen should be smelling amazing right now. So good. So get your red wine in there and your stock. Okay. Beautiful. And then the rest just goes in. This is so easy. There's no rhyme or reason really here. Everything just get in there. So I have my cubed butternut squash, and I always say if you can buy store-bought cubed butternut squash, that's a huge time saver for you. So don't be afraid to do that. Whenever you can find a shortcut, as long as you're okay paying extra premium for that convenience, go ahead and do it, because it saves so much time. It really does, especially butternut squash. I can't recommend that enough. It takes you so long to cut open a butternut squash, and even if you have the most amazing knife skills, it still takes forever, and you could still really cut yourself, and it's tough and it's annoying. So my reco is to just buy it done, so you don't have to think about it. Okay, we have our tomato paste going in here, and that's just going to give it that tomato base, that thickness, that richness, that umami. So good. I like everything tomato based, whether it's a soup or a stew. Yum. Give that a little mix around, and is that everything? Let's see. The chickpeas is the last thing to put in, and that's it, okay? Got this cute little bowl from San Diego, obsessed. Not cute. So grab your chickpeas, throw them in. You could omit them if you don't like chickpeas, obviously. And that's it. You're just gonna bring this up to a boil and then simmer it for about an hour or so, and that meat is gonna soften. All the flavors are gonna blend together. And then I want you to taste it at the end, and you could always adjust the spices, add anything you like. But this is gonna be really good. Excited for you. Okay. I love this. And even kids, your kids are gonna be eating tagine. You're gonna be like, what? My kid just ate tagine. It's just a fancy word for a stew. Okay, here we go. So let this come up to a boil, then we'll lower it to a simmer and cover it with our lid for about an hour or so. Okay? Take a sip, wine, coffee, whatever you're sipping. I got that in San Diego too. I mean, so cute. Like all my little prep and rally themed colors. So fun. All right, here we go. Next up, we're gonna get our chickens in the oven because those will take some time as well. I have 2 spatchcocked chickens here, and I also added in some extra drumsticks because we're having some extra company this week. And I figured the kids will like that. 2 spatchcocked chickens. I give the instructions on the PDF. I'm also going to be sharing a video that I teach you how to spatchcock a chicken in. I have a really good video for that. So stay tuned for that coming hopefully later this week. So stay tuned on my Instagram. I will post when it's available. But yeah, it's really simple. You just cut the sides of the backbone, take the backbone out, press it flat, and you have a nice flat chicken like this. And the benefits here are really, really quick cooking because you're splaying it open. You get that crispy golden on the bottom, on the top, and it cooks so much faster. It's like the best way to cook a chicken, but still stays super moist and yummy, which is a similar result to having a fully roasted chicken. So learn to spatchcock and do it. It took me 5 seconds, and I actually used a knife to do these ones today. I didn't even use kitchen shears, but for easier, spatchcocking, I really recommend getting a scissors. I just need to buy a new pair, and I have not done so yet. So get on that. And I also have some ones linked in my on prepandrally.com, so you can just head right there. I've linked some good ones on there to purchase. Very inexpensive item, and there's so many uses for them, okay? So get yourself a pair of kitchen shears to try to keep them in your kitchen. Don't let your kids use them on art projects like mine do, because then you lose them, okay? All right. Yum. Get your hairs cut up, okay? Oh, one more, I forgot. Don't forget, you have your oven preheated to 425 degrees. You're gonna roast these in that oven, and we're also gonna get green beans in there as well. So all I'm doing is I've peeled vegetables, and you could use any root vegetables that you want here. And all I'm doing is just cutting them on a bias. So making them sort of this like oval shape. Instead of cutting straight up so that they're circles, you kind of go at an angle a little bit. So instead of cutting like this, you're going like that. So you get these angular pieces. You don't need to do that. It's just, they look pretty. All right, and just try to make sure everything is similar size. So as you see with this parsnip here, there's some massive pieces and some smaller pieces. If you have a massive one, just cut it in half so that everything cooks pretty evenly, okay? That's something that you always want to keep in mind whenever you're cooking anything, is just even temperature. So I have an extra large baking sheet, which is why everything is fitting on this one baking sheet for me. I have those linked on my site as well. They are the best, and I use them weekly. You guys know I'm obsessed with them because instead of dirtying up 2, I could dirty up 1, and everything stays together, and it's just so much easier. So that's why everything is fitting on one here, but feel free to use 2 baking sheets, which you will likely need to do if you don't have an extra large one, okay? So I have parsnip on there, I have carrot, now I have some potatoes, and just throw these on here for now, and we will kind of rearrange everything and make sure everything is single layer once we season it all. So don't waste your time doing that yet because we still have to season and toss it all around. So just get them all chopped and on here. And doing some pre-prep, like peeling your stuff before, is always very, very helpful. So I always recommend you do that because then you can just get to your prep easily without having to stop. okay? So I have 2 purple onions here. Okay, my tagine is starting to boil. So what I'm gonna do right now, lower it to a simmer, cover, let it do its thing. The stew also stores beautifully. So if you do have leftovers, you can always store it in the freezer, pull it out when you need it, which is honestly my favorite thing to do because on a Friday, I don't have to cook and I have Friday night dinner ready for everybody on weeks where I have, some leftovers. I just store it in the freezer and you're good. All right, so 1 more onion here. And then we're going to season up our chickens. We're also going to add our lemons. And also when it comes to knife skills, guys, the more you practice, the more you do it, the faster you get. So really, really practice knife skills. Make salads, make fruit salads, fruit bowls, whatever. Practice good knife skills and it'll just save you so much time in the long run. Okay? Are we all good? Is everyone good? We're rushing today. We're getting this thing done though. Here we go. 2 lemons. I'm just going to quarter them. Okay. And I also have, you can either use rosemary. I'm using sage today. I'm just throwing some whole sage. And this is the best part about a roasted chicken. You don't have to do much. You just kind of throw stuff on there, toss it around with your oil and spices, and you're done. All right, so with these lemons, I'm just giving them a little bit of a squeeze and then throwing them on. Okay, look at this. Sheet pan dinner for the win. So the first night, so Monday night, you're gonna be eating this chicken. And then for Wednesday night, you're taking the other chicken and leftover vegetables and turning it into the most amazing chicken pot pie. So all thought out, really intuitive, really smart, and we are saving tons of money. All right, here we go. All we're doing is just seasoning with some salt, with some pepper, and I'm gonna even add some onion powder. You don't have to, but it just gives some extra flavor. So here we go. I want you to use one hand to distribute your spices and the other hand that's touching the chicken and all the vegetables, okay? So first I'm doing onion powder, and then I'm gonna do some salt. You wanna season liberally. Try to get under the skin at any point if you can. It'll just help give it more flavor, especially if you don't actually eat the skin. It just really helps flavor it. Okay, so keep one hand clean for the spices and the other hand used to sort of distribute everything nice and evenly. Okay, salt, and we have some onion powder. You could also do garlic powder here. You could do paprika. It's totally your call what you like. A little bit of oil, and then we're gonna flip this whole thing and do it again on the other side. So give a nice amount of olive oil because you have lots of vegetables here. And 2 whole chickens. Okay, so now take your little chickens, flip them over, and we're gonna season the underside, okay? So clean hand, really, really important to just season liberally. Everything needs to be really flavorful, otherwise you're not gonna have a very delicious dinner. More onion powder, and a little bit more oil. That's all. Okay, so now that I don't need a clean hand anymore, flip it back over, and just give everything a nice little massage here, okay? And guys, I want you to fall in love with making chicken this way because it is the greatest technique and you do it all in one big roasting pan. So if you're ever in a bind, like I don't know what to make for dinner, just do it this way. It's easy and you could get rid of any leftover vegetables you have in your fridge or sitting out on the counter, like onions or potatoes or parsnips or whatever, any vegetable, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. Throw it on a sheet pan with your chickens. So what I like to do also is put the chickens resting on top of some of the vegetables. That will give it really great flavor to let it kind of cook underneath the chicken. So even some of these herbs, throw underneath the chicken, give it a little toss around, kind of distribute everything pretty evenly, make sure the vegetables are fully surrounding the chickens and some underneath. And, okay. That is how it's done, my friends, okay? Single layer as best as possible. Give your hands a nice little wash. And again, we already have our oven preheated to 425. So you're ready to just throw this in the oven. I like to do it on the top rack so you get nice golden color, okay? And here we go. You're gonna cook your chicken for like 50 minutes, I would say. Hold on. 50 to 60 minutes. Again, it depends how big your chickens are. My goodness, this is so heavy. Whoa. Ah. Really heavy. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Okay. Beautiful. Chickens are in. Next up, in that same oven, green beans. All right, here we go. A little bit of olive oil. I buy them pre-trimmed so you don't have to like sit there picking off little end pieces that are super annoying. So wherever you see like trimmed, that's what that means. That part that's not so edible, that's at the tip of it. Sometimes you'll find random ones with it. Like this is like a little piece of it, but like that's not really delicious. So we have to pull it off. That could take a lot of time. So when possible, buy pre-trimmed, okay? Toss it around and wash your hands one more time and then get those green beans in. All right, then all we have left to do is make our couscous and make our salad dressing. I mean, this is like the easiest prep ever. Doesn't get easier than this. All right, in the oven, here we go. This will be in for like 20 minutes or so. All right, 20 minutes. And it's always really good to set timers whenever you can when you have multiple things going in and out of the oven so you don't forget. And here we go. So, Israeli couscous, okay? We are going to bring our pot of water to a boil. So I have like a medium pot here. I'm putting it on a big flame. You know what we could do actually? Let me move over our little tagine so that you could see. No, hate when that doesn't work. Okay, pause. There we go. Turn this one on. Do you hate when after cleaning? Here it is. Okay. After cleaning your oven or your stove, that doesn't work. It's the worst. Okay, working now. All right, so keep your tagine simmering and bring your pot of water to a boil. Again, all the measurements are on your PDF, so head to prepandrally.com to get all those measurements and download your PDF. Bring that to a boil. We're gonna add some salt and some oil, okay? Beautiful. Once it's boiling, we are going to add the couscous, which I've already measured out. Yours should look like more than this. I just am making a smaller amount of this. But make however much you think your family needs. Always, before you prep, adjust anything you need to make this work better for you. And then, yeah, we're gonna cook it covered for 10 minutes, okay? Until all the water's absorbed. Meanwhile, we are going to make the last thing, which is our salad dressing, okay? This is a balsamic dressing. So good, such a staple, such a classic, and is going to make you so happy all week long because you're just gonna be able to pull together the greatest dressing or the greatest salads, knowing that you have dressings ready to go. So, while that's boiling, let's bang out a salad dressing, okay? Here we go. We have our balsamic, and I would make this last 2 summers ago in the Hamptons for my client with like a chunky Greek salad. So good. So you're actually gonna make the salad on Thursday, so it's as fresh as can be. If you want to make it now so that you can have it for the rest of the week as well, not just Thursday, go right ahead. Or if you're switching up the schedule for the meals, do whatever works for you. But it's gonna be a really yummy salad, and this dressing you're gonna love. And the kids love it too, which is great. Mustard. This is a quick prep. Look at this. It's been 23 minutes. We're almost done. That's insane. I think that's the fastest meal prep ever, actually. Like, actually. That's insane. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of mustard. Honey. Okay, you don't have to sweeten this. I like it a little bit sweet. Plus, it makes the kiddos enjoy it a little bit more. You could also use sugar here, but we're using kind of a natural sweetener. Okay. Close that up, and here we go. Onion powder. Oops, that's garlic powder, but that works too. Either way. Onion powder. We're gonna do some salt. We're gonna do some oregano. You could omit if you don't like it, but that's kind of what makes it this classic kind of Greek flavor, is a nice amount of oregano. And then olive oil. That's the last thing. If you have one of those little orange things to keep your dressing from leaking, you can shake it in there. Otherwise, you can just whisk it like we're gonna do with your olive oil. So here's a dressing. See that? So just give it a little whisk. And the amazing thing about mustard is it's an emulsifier, so it'll keep this dressing, if you shake it well enough for long enough, it'll keep it from like separating every 5 seconds. It helps keep it together. I remember learning that from Ina Garden like forever ago when I first got started cooking. I thought it was so cool. But it really is like a wonder ingredient. It's really cool. It's great for dressings. It's a shame, Mike, you don't like it. Mike hates mustard. It's like his thing. Okay, that's it. And bring it back here. I did not measure anything. You could, but yum. That's actually perfect. Best way to know is to just taste it. A little more salt. Should be good to go now. Beautiful. That's it. Okay. That is the whole thing. All right. So all we're going to do now, we are waiting for this water to boil. And all you're going to do, I mean, this is so simple. You're literally just going to wait for this water to boil, pour your couscous in there, and let it cook. And once you bring it back up to a boil, when you add the couscous, you are just going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes until all the water is absorbed. Then just pull it off the heat, let it sit another minute or two, and then take it out and put it into your storage container. I'm using whole wheat, so feel free to use regular, whole wheat, whichever you like. But it's great. It's basically like pasta. Kids love this stuff. So bring it to boil, pour your couscous in, bring it back to a boil, and then cover it tightly and let it simmer for about 15 minutes or so until all the water is absorbed, okay? Tagine is boiling. Make sure you lower that, cook that for about an hour or so. And again, if you want to use this time now to chop up that salad, go right ahead. That is the quickest meal prep ever, but it's going to have you so full throughout the whole week. Beautiful, filling, amazing meals. And I hope you guys love it. So be sure to share everything on Instagram at Prep and Rally. I cannot wait to see how you guys do with all this food. And yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. All right, guys. Love you. Have an amazing, amazing week. Get through it. You got this. We'll see you next time. Bye.